They were put up for sale for being sterile, until a lonely man with 2 children took all 3 home. The morning sun cast long shadows across the sterile white floors of the Renewal Center, a place where the unwanted were cataloged, evaluated, and sold. In Pod 7, 3 women sat on identical metal benches. Their emerald green skin marked them as Zerithians, a species prized throughout the galaxy for their strength, longevity, and, most importantly, their extraordinary fertility. But these 3 were different. Kayla stared at the barcode tattooed on her wrist, the thick red stripe cutting through it like a scar. Red meant defective. Red meant sterile. Red meant worthless. Beside her, her sisters Maya and Lena sat in similar silence. They had stopped talking days ago, after the final test results came back, and the Renewal Center administrators had moved them from the premium wing to this cold, forgotten corner where the unusables waited. Lot 47C, a voice crackled through the speaker. 3 Zerithian females, ages 20 to 24. Sterility confirmed. Opening bid, 500 credits for all 3. Kayla's jaw tightened. A week ago, a single fertile Zerithian woman would have sold for 50,000 credits. Now the 3 of them together weren't worth the price of a used transport pod. Through the observation window, she could see the handful of bidders in the auction room. Most looked bored, scrolling through their tablets, waiting for more valuable lots. A few glanced up with mild curiosity before returning to their screens. 500, someone said half-heartedly. 525, another voice called out, sounding almost annoyed at having to participate. The auctioneer's voice droned on, mechanical and indifferent. Maya's hand slipped into Kayla's. On her other side, Lena's shoulders shook with silent tears. Going once at 525, this was it. They would be separated, sent to labor colonies, or worse. The Renewal Center didn't keep steriles. They took up space that could be used for profitable merchandise. 600. The new voice was quiet, but clear. Kayla looked up sharply, searching the sparse crowd for its source. A man stood at the back of the auction room. He was human, maybe in his mid-30s, with tired eyes and worn clothing that had seen better days. His dark hair was slightly disheveled, and he held a tablet awkwardly, as if he'd never been to an auction before. 600 going once, going twice. The auctioneer sounded surprised that anyone was still bidding. Silence filled the room. No one countered. Sold to bidder 23 for 600 credits. The transport ride to their new owner's home was long and silent. Kayla, Maya, and Lena sat in the back of a weathered hover van, their wrists now bearing fresh ownership codes. The man, he'd introduced himself simply as Nathan, drove without speaking, occasionally glancing at them in the rear-view mirror with an expression Kayla couldn't quite read. They arrived at a modest house on the outskirts of Portland, Oregon, a far cry from the gleaming towers of the city center. The place was small, slightly run down, with a yard that desperately needed attention. It was nothing like the luxurious estates where fertile Zerithians typically ended up. Nathan parked and turned to face them. "I know you're probably wondering what I want from you," he said quietly. "The truth is, I need help, but maybe you need something too." He stepped out of the van and opened the side door. "Come inside, please." The interior of the house was cluttered but clean. Children's toys were scattered across the living room floor. Drawings covered the refrigerator. Photos lined the hallways. A smiling woman with dark hair appeared in most of them, always next to Nathan, always radiant. "Dad!" A small voice called from upstairs. "Coming, Ellie." Nathan called back. He turned to the 3 sisters. "My wife Rachel died 8 months ago. Cancer. I have 2 kids. Ellie is 6 and Liam is 4. I work double shifts at the fabrication plant trying to keep us afloat, but it's not enough. I can't be there when they wake up. I can't be there when they go to sleep. They need someone." Kayla felt something shift in her chest. "You bought us to be nannies." "I bought you to be free," Nathan said, meeting her eyes. "The contract I signed gives you room and board, a small salary, and, most importantly, after 1 year of service, I'll file for your emancipation. You'll be free citizens, not property. You can leave, stay, do whatever you want. I just need help for 1 year. My kids need stability, and I I can't do this alone anymore. Maya stepped forward. Why us? Why sterile Zerithians? We're considered defective. Nathan's expression hardened. Because the system that calls you defective is broken. Because you deserve better than being thrown away. And because, he paused, his voice cracking slightly, because I know what it's like to feel worthless. After Rachel died, everyone looked at me with pity, said I couldn't handle it, couldn't raise 2 kids alone, told me I should give them up, start over, but they're my children. They're not a burden. They're my whole world. He looked at each of them in turn. You're not defective. You're just different than what people expected. That doesn't make you less valuable. It just makes people's expectations stupid. Footsteps pounded down the stairs. A little girl with messy pigtails and missing front teeth burst into the room, followed by a smaller boy clutching a stuffed triceratops. Ellie stopped short when she saw Kayla, Maya, and Lena. Her eyes went wide. Whoa, you're green. Manners, Ellie, Nathan said gently, but Kayla found herself smiling for the first time in weeks. She knelt down to Ellie's level. We are green. My name is Kayla. These are my sisters, Maya and Lena. Are you going to live with us? Liam asked, peeking out from behind Nathan's leg. If that's okay with you, Lena said softly. Ellie's face broke into a huge grin. That would be so cool. None of my friends have green people at their house. Nathan laughed, a sound that seemed rusty from disuse. Kids, why don't you show them your rooms? They'll need to know where everything is. As Ellie grabbed Maya's hand and Liam reached for Lena's, chattering excitedly about their toys, their school, and her late goldfish named Captain Sparkles, Kayla hung back with Nathan. Why did you really do this? She asked quietly. Nathan was silent for a long moment, watching his children lead her sisters upstairs. Because everyone deserves a chance to matter. The system failed you. It failed me too, in different ways. Maybe together we can fail a little less. That night, after the children were tucked into bed with stories and songs that Kayla, Maya, and Lena had remembered from their own childhood, the 3 sisters sat in their shared room. It was small but clean, with actual windows that looked out at real stars. It's not what I expected, Maya said. Nothing ever is, Lena replied. Kayla touched the barcode on her wrist, the red stripe that had defined her worth for so long. Maybe that's not a bad thing. Downstairs, they could hear Nathan moving around the kitchen, preparing lunches for the next day. Through the thin walls, Ellie's sleepy voice drifted up. Dad, I like them. They smell like cinnamon, and they told us stories about flying ships. I'm glad, sweetheart. Now sleep. Dad, are they going to leave like Mom did? A long pause. No, baby. They're to stay for a while. I promise. Kayla closed her eyes, feeling something she hadn't felt since the test results came back. Hope. They had been labeled sterile, worthless, defective, put up for sale like broken merchandise. But perhaps value wasn't measured in credits or biological function. Perhaps it was measured in the small hands that had grabbed theirs, in the tired man who had seen them as people rather than property, and in the year ahead that promised something they thought they'd lost forever, purpose. Tomorrow they would wake up in a home instead of a cell. They would make breakfast for children who didn't care about barcodes or red stripes. They would build something new from the pieces of their broken expectations. And maybe, just maybe, they would discover that being sterile had never been their defining characteristic after all.